Hi, it's a nice day. I'm going to go up on deck now and read you a little poem that I've come across by Joseph Mary Plunkett. It's The Wave of the Sea. So I hope you'll enjoy it. Move up here now. I came across this in my reading. It's a lovely little poem and I think it reflects the ocean. And it's called A Wave of the Sea. I am a wave of the sea, and the foam of the wave, and the wind of the foam, and the wings of the wind. My soul is in the salt of the sea, in the weight of the wave, in the bubbles of foam, in the ways of the wind. My gift is the depth of the sea, the strength of the wave, the lightness of foam, the speed of the wind. Isn't that lovely? I am a wave of the sea, and the foam of the wave, and the wind of the foam, and the wings of the wind. My soul is in the salt of the sea, in the weight of the wave, in the bubbles of foam, in the ways of the wind. My gift is the depth of the sea, the strength of the wave, the lightness of foam, the speed of the wind. Oh, glorious. There are some good days and bad days, and this is one of the good ones. We've got a clear blue sky, very flat sea. We've got maybe 14 knots of wind, 15 knots, and we're doing about 12, 13 knots of boat speed. Absolutely glorious. So, as I said, it goes from one extreme to the other on board this good ship, Kilcullen Voyager. We're sailing at a nice angle, an angle of about 135 degrees. We're making progress rapidly south.
Hello everyone, good day to you. We're here in Paris at Vendee Globe HQ. It's another edition of Vendee Globe Live on this Friday, November the 25th. We're just entering the 20th day of racing. First of all, we start the show with big thanks to Nicolas Boisdevesy, who joins us. Nicolas, French sailor. You've sailed with Alex Thomson for about 6 months, so you know him well. We'll come back and say hello to you in a bit, Nicolas. Anyway, if there was a song that summed up what's been going on the racecourse the last 24 hours, it would be Another One Bites the Dust. Yes, French sailor Morgan Le Gravier is out of the Vendee Globe. He's had to retire on his boat Saffron after suffering rudder damage. He was in 5th place. He's the 3rd skipper to officially retire after hitting something. He's the 5th sailor to hit something on the racecourse. The irony, of course, is that Saffron is the French name for rudder. Anyway, we spoke to him last night. Here's what he had to say.
It was a really hard night, the last night for me, because I lost the way during 5 times, you know, with my automatic pilot, and I don't understand why. And this today at the mid of the day, I lose my direction one more time. And when I go out inside of the boat, I saw the rudder and just a part of my starboard rudder, a little part, you know, was just 30% of the rudder. And I don't saw anything, I don't heard anything, I don't understand anything, you know. And it's really hard for me to understand why and the reason why. Sad, yeah. I lose maybe 70% of the rudder, you know, the down part of the rudder, and it break. I understand the word, but like a straight, you know, it break. Yeah, in the middle of the rudder. Maybe we can repair the rudder, but it's really hard to repair the rudder now, just before the South Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean. It's really bad news for me because I did a really good race from the start to now. I'm in the 4th position, and it's really good for me, for the boat, and for Safran. And yes, it's really bad, but the life is long, and I want to still be happy, you know. I'm not sick, you know. I feel good, and I can be on shore in a few times. So Vendee Globe is just a game, you know. It's not the life. so I have to relativize about the situation.
Well, very sad news there from Morgan. Obviously, all of the skippers have been lining up to send their messages of support to Morgan as he heads towards Cape Town. Here's what Kojiro Shirashai sent us from Spirit of Yoku.
11月24日夕方です。今、E メールをチェックしたところ、非常に残念なニュースが飛び込んできました。サフランチームのモーガンがリタイアということです。本当に残念です。一緒にスピリット・オブ・ユコチームとサフランチームは一緒のコンカルノでずっとやってたもんですから、本当にね、モーガンはすごく素敵な青年で、目がキラキラしててね、で腕は立つしね、トップ争いしてました。なんとかワイルドジャービしてラダーがね壊れてしまったようです。本当にショックだしね、残念なんだけど、とにかくまだ若いですからね、とにかく今は無事にケープタウンまでね、帰って、まだまだねこれから2回3回、優勝を狙えるセーラーなんでね、これからもねぜひ、ね、優勝を狙ってね次の大会また次の大会とね頑張ってほしいなと思います。今はとにかく無事にケープタウンまで集中して帰ってね、ゆっくり休んで、先ねフランスで待っててください。モーガン本当にお疲れ様でした。見事な走りでした。本当にねいつも仲良くしてくれてありがとう。ゆっくりね休んでください。以上。
Well, kind words there from Koji on Spirit of Yuko. Nicola, we must talk about Morgan Le Gravier. Very sad to see him out of the race. This is his first time in competing in the race, and he's had to retire. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I think it's really bad for Morgan because he was doing it really well from the start, and he has the opportunity to sail on a really good boat with foils. So even if it was his first experience on IMOCA race, he got a really good boat, and I think he started from quite a long way ago, and seeing him rocking it in the race, nearly close to the first, to the leading group, and I was really happy for him. Now you have to face some adversity, we can say, and I think he got a strong mental, and he's going to come back, and possibly we're going to see him back on the next Vendee Globe.
Now, he's the fifth skipper so far to hit something floating in the water. What sort of a danger do these submerged objects present?
Yeah, it shows us a bit of what is around the oceans, like plastics, old nets from fisheries activities, and some containers, some wooden things, and all these things in the ocean is, of course, really difficult for these sailors to deal with it. And there is no rules, there is no chance not to hit one or to hit one. So it's kind of a lottery. So it shows us as well that everything can happen on this race, and perhaps it's part of the adventure.
Well, anything can happen indeed. Let's have a little look at how the racecourse is looking today with this 3D animation. First of all, starting at the head of the fleet there, we can see Alex Thomson into the Indian Ocean with the narrowest of leads over Armel Le Cléac'h. That's down to just 35 miles. Seb Josse back in third place there, 260 miles back. He passed the Cape of Good Hope just after midnight. Now, 900 miles back, Paul Meilhat, Jeremie Beyou and Jan Ellies in that group, 200 miles to the northwest. Now, going further back on the racecourse there, we can see they will be looking over their shoulder at those three boats coming up behind them, Jean Le Cam, Jean-Pierre Dick and Thomas Rion. After they picked up New Breeze, that's seen their speeds up to 20 knots. Now, 500 miles further back, Quito de Pavon paving his own way. He's now on the same westerly course, finally moving again. There's a real race going on behind him with 6 boats all within 50 miles of one another. Louis Burton at the front of that group, Nandor Farr in 16th. 300 miles behind, we've got Peter Harima, Alan Rura, and there we see Enda O'Coineen. And finally, bringing up the rear, we've got Sebastian Destremo, Didac Costa. They are some 3,500 miles behind Alex Thomson. So that's how things are looking today. Now, Nico, we must talk about Alex Thomson. Yesterday, he absolutely obliterated the race record from Les Sables to the Cape of Good Hope. He did it in 17 days. That's taking about 4 days off of the record that was set by Armel Le Cléac'h in the last race. Did you ever expect him to be so quick?
It's kind of a surprise, of course, but if we can make the tiny comparison, it was nearly the time of an offshore multi-hull 5-6 years ago. If I remember the time of Groupama on the Jules Verne record, it was nearly the same timing. So it's really impressive for monohulls, single-handed skipper aboard. And I know Alex is going fast on his new boat, and he's got as well a strong mind, and he's not going to give up for strong winds or broken foils or something like that. So I'm really happy for him that he really smashed that time on the sailing down the Atlantic.
Yeah, well, I mean, incredible speeds. And to be honest, he hasn't really slowed down since losing that foil. It's been incredible. I mean, how much of a detriment is that going to be in the Southern Ocean, in the Indian Ocean, and from there on in? Do you think losing that foil is going to be a problem for him?
Yeah, that's a really hard question to answer, because now he shows us that as he said, he broke something on his foil. We don't know exactly which part and how the damage is important, but it seems like the boat integrity is okay, so he's still nearly sailing at possibly something between 80% to 100% of his performance. So yeah, the Indian is going to be really interesting, following Alex trying to keep the lead in front of Banque Populaire and Gitana, and Edmond De Rothschild.
Yeah, fantastic, absolutely fantastic race going on. Another fantastic race, a race within a race. Conrad Coleman back in 15th place. He's sailing side by side with Nandor Farr. Now, the two of those sailed together 2 years ago in the Barcelona Around the World race. That's a double-handed race. They find themselves now, 2 years on, almost in the similar position, fighting one another. Conrad's had a few problems of his own. He's had to go up the mast. Here he is explaining how dangerous that is.
To be very frank, climbing the mast is the worst job that exists on board the boat. It's really scary for me. It's really dangerous. It's almost 100 feet or 30 meters up in the air, which means that you've got an incredible engine on the thing. So the slightest movement of the boat, or the slightest wave, or sends the tip of the mast swinging through an enormous arc. And the thing that's really tricky is that there's nobody here to help us or to hook up to the top, which means that we need to climb up a tensioned rope using two ascenders or climbing handles like mountain climbers use. But that climbing apparatus, it requires two hands to do the job, which means that we're swinging freely, which means that we can come into impact and hit the mast, or and so I always climb with a helmet on because I've previously hit my head against the mast, so that is absolutely important. And then every time I climb the mast, I come down terribly, terribly bruised, because there's violent movement up at the top, and in fact you have to hang on for dear life, certainly onto the spreaders, which are quite sharp, and then it means you get thrown around like a rag doll while hanging on to relatively small struts and cables, and so there's no way to come down without bruises, unfortunately.
Well, cracking stuff there from Conrad Coleman, really explaining what it's like to have to go up the mast. But we can actually show you now what it looks like, the view from the top of a mast. This is Jean-Pierre Dick in the 2012 race. He put a GoPro on his forehead and he filmed it. Here's what it looks like.
Hard, 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 hard. C'est dur. C'est dans le mât. C'est pas mon truc.
Well, if that doesn't make your stomach turn over, I don't know what will. Nico, how dangerous is it going up the mast? We've heard Conrad just saying there, he's swinging around. He said like a rag doll. being absolutely bashed around by the mast. How dangerous is it for skippers having to climb the mast?
Yeah, it is. In my own experience, there is two things you don't want to do, is diving under the boat, and because you are single-handed, and climbing up the mast. But of course you have to do it, for example, to check your mast before entering the South Oceans. So if you can imagine, even if Conrad and the other sailors are used to use some mountaineering technique, as he said, the handle, and it's still a part of the most dangerous action on board, going up the mast. And if you can make a comparison, it's like if you were on the mast at 30 meters high, so the more up you are climbing, the more balance from left to right you have, and it's like a shaker. And that's what he said. Conrad talked about bruise when he come down on the deck. So if you had to do it once in a day, you spend a lot of energy, you could take bruise, and sometimes you have to do it more than one time in a day. Yeah. So yeah, it's really hard and tough period of the race when you have to do it. And being alone, yeah, you have to limit the risks and try to anticipate all what you can, so that is going to be okay and you stay in one piece.
Yeah, and of course, Conrad's actually in relatively light winds at the moment, probably only around 10 knots. What would that be like for the front runners who are out in those sort of 30, 40 knot breeze? I mean, what would it be like going up the mast then?
They always try to find the good period about the weather conditions and the sea states, because of course climbing up the mast in more than 3 meters waves is nearly impossible, or you're going to be like I don't know how to say that, like on a catapult, you know? Yeah. So no, that's why they anticipate before, as we said, before entering the southern oceans. They know that the sea is going to be quite rough and more high than the South Atlantic, for example. So that's why they go up before, check all the lashings and all the technical parts on the mast. Yeah.
So they're preparing before the big winds and the big waves come. Exactly. Well, talking about the weather, let's have a quick look at what lies ahead. Let's zoom into the front of the fleet there. We can see, just zooming on the front of the fleet, we can see Alex, Thomson and Armel Le Cléac'h heading southeast towards that big depression at the bottom right of the chart. That's going to slingshot them towards the Southern Ocean. Seb Josse, he's going to have to wait for that depression in the bottom centre of the chart to pick him up. On the left of the screen, we can see Paul Meilhat, Jeremie Beyou. They've jinked south in anticipation of that new low forming. Let's pull out then and have a look at what the overall South Atlantic looks like. We can clearly see that the fleet is now split into 4 groups. There's that easterly moving L4 depression in the left-hand corner of the screen there. You can see it quite clearly. So let's take a look at the back section of the fleet. We can see that the mid-fleet trio of Jean-Pierre Dick, Jean Le Cam and Thomas Rion in good pressure now on the outskirts of that L4 depression. But the question is for them how long they can hold on to it. It won't be easy for them to stay in front of that system because it's moving very quickly. And behind them, the big group of sailors in those light winds around 10 knots, they're looking for taking another 8 or 9 days to reach the Cape of Good Hope. Well, that just about brings us to the end of another Vendee Globe live show. Who will be in front of the race tomorrow? Armel Le Cléac'h or the British Lion, Alex Thomson? Only time will tell. My big thanks to Conrad Coleman for talking to me this morning. My big thanks, of course, to Nico Boisvezi for joining me in the studio today. Thanks very much, Nico. And join me at the same time in the same place tomorrow. We'll be live from Paris, Vendee Globe HQ, where we'll be talking to esteemed sailing journalist Justin Chisholm. Until then, bye-bye.
Since November 12th, Alex Thomson is leading the Vendee Globe somehow royally. Today, and 2 weeks into the race, his power is beginning to falter. Having overtaken him this morning for several hours, Armel Le Cléac'h is increasingly pressing, watching for his fiery rival's slightest misstep. Glad to be back in contact with Alex. Since the start, we've had great conditions for speeding. And with that, you had to find the right moment to step on it. And or watch out for the equipment. That's To each their own, I would say. I manage in my own way. True to his reputation, Banque Populaire skipper hasn't given in. And let us not mince words, except mishap, we're bound to witness an epic duel in the coming weeks. In the rear, the first pursuers hang on as they can. Sebastien Josse, Paul Meilhat, and Jeremie Beyou aren't losing any ground, but can't catch up for all that. Unlike Jan Elias, who's made up a good part of his delay, and who keeps speeding up thanks to South American disruption. This same disruption enabled Thomas Ruillant to accomplish the fastest lap of the fleet, 447 miles in 24 hours, and catch up with Jean Le Cléac'h and Jean-Pierre Dick. We're ahead of a front that's taking us all the way to the Cape of Good Hope. And I'm happy as we caught up with our two old hands in front. So here, we're at contact, that's great. It's cool, we're gliding and going fast. Quito de Pavon, too, is making good headway and could soon join in the fight with the little group led by Jean-Pierre Dick. To close off in the world made of speed and carbon, a little poetry never hurt anyone. It's from Ireland, written by Joseph Mary Plunkett.
I am a wave of the sea, and the foam of the wave, and the wind of the foam, and the wings of the wind. My soul is in the salt of the sea, in the weight of the wave, in the bubbles of foam, in the ways of the wind. My gift is the depth of the sea, the strength of the wave, the lightness of foam, the speed of the wind.
Well, talking about Seb Josse, we are able to connect live to Sebastien Josse on Edmond De Rothschild, third place this morning. How are you doing, Sebastien?
I'm going slowly. I'm in the south, but it's not so much wind for the start of the ocean, so we have to wait the low pressure arrive. But it's not too bad.
What's the forecast looking like for you for the next 24 hours, Sebastien? How are things going to play out?
For me, it's really light wind. It's high pressure on between me and Alex and Armel. So I'm on the back of this high pressure, and I wait the wind come in the next 24 hours. And we after it's maybe quite fast and straight to Australia. So we have to be patient.
Now, we were just talking just now, Sebastien, with Justin Chisholm, Sail Racing magazine editor, and he was saying that perhaps the French sailors didn't expect Alex Thomson to be still out in the front. What do you make of the situation? Did you still think that Alex might be able to lead the fleet at this point in the race?
Oh yes, I said that since New York Les Sables d'Olonne, we see Alex as a quite boat and he go quite fast. So I know Alex is a dangerous sailor, and he maybe now it's 12 years he tried to do and win the Vendee Globe, and he grew up every year and every new edition. So I think everyone knows Alex. It's a great sailor. So now he just proved it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what about the broken foil, though, Seb? You're in third place. You're about 300 miles behind those two front runners. Is it just a matter of time before your boat becomes quicker than Alex Thomson's boat and you take that place from him?
Ouais, je suis revenu. Ouais, I think it's to have foils today in the South Ocean is not a big deal to have or not, because when it's really windy, you don't need to have foils to go fast, and we see Alex go quite fast. When you have 25 knots, it's enough. You don't need to go faster. What is important is to have foils when we go up in the Atlantic. So I think for next 4 weeks, to have foils or not is not a big drama.
Well, We'll see if that does ring true, Seb. Tomorrow marks 3 weeks into the race. How are you feeling? How's the boat holding up? Is the race playing out as you'd expect it to?
The boat looks in a great shape. We don't have so much bad weather and bad waves since the start. So it's quite fast. Huh? You see, Alex broke all the record in the Equator and Good Hope Cape. So and he's not finished, I think, because the next one should be follow slow. So it's amazing how the boat is fast and how the weather. We are lucky with the weather, and it's great to start a Vendée Globe like that.
Welcome to the office. What a happy office today. We just spoke with the team, with my team, and they are enjoying at the Face Ocean headquarters in Toulon, a massive paella that has been prepared by our friend Sissou. And boy, oh boy, the atmosphere is good over there. It was good to talk to them all. So we're very, very pleased as we halved this distance between our friend, the Irish Enda, dead ahead of us. Just a little bit on the right there, we have Alan Rura from Switzerland. And over there, we have Didac Costa from Spain. So very international area here. Meanwhile, here on Techno First Face Ocean, we just keep going, keep pressing on the boat, just going nicely. Lastly, I just wanted to thank a school, a French school, the school, the Pont du Casse, Thibaut, Mélodie Hugo, Loane, Daniel, Eman, Ambre, Matteo, Lina, Maxence, Leana, and Virgil. Thank you very much for your message, guys. See you tomorrow à 20h.
Alors, on me signale que Jean Le Cam, ça y est connecté. On va pouvoir parler au roi Jean qui est avec nous ce midi. Bonjour Jean, merci d'être avec nous. Alors, vous nous avez envoyé un petit dicton dans lequel vous disiez qu'une manœuvre réussie était une manœuvre sans souci. On en déduit que vous avez pas mal manœuvré ces derniers temps.
Bah ouais, c'est-à-dire que bon, une manœuvre, c'est vrai qu'on peut la faire plus ou moins vite, etc. Mais bon, moi je trouve que c'est bien quoi, une manœuvre réussie, c'est une manœuvre sans souci. Je trouve que ben, t'es content d'avoir bien fait ce que tu avais à faire. On fait pas des manœuvres tout seul, c'est pas toujours facile. Donc bon, on a des voilà, quand tu es content d'avoir fait ta manœuvre, voilà, alors ça te fait un petit dicton, quoi. Une manœuvre réussie, une manœuvre sans souci.
On sait, Jean, que certains marins se font des checklists au moment de faire les manœuvres. Est-ce que c'est aussi le cas, même quand on en est à son 4e Vendée Globe, on continue à se faire des petites checklists pour bien faire les choses dans l'ordre et être sûr que justement la manœuvre soit réussie?
Ah bah ouais, on réfléchit toujours, si tu veux, à comment est-ce que ça va se passer, est-ce qu'on n'a rien oublié, les écoutes sont bien passées, je vais faire ça dans tel ordre, est-ce que voilà, mon enrouleur est prêt, ma drisse est prête, mon tackline pour la mure c'est prêt, enfin bon, ouais, on réfléchit toujours à plein de trucs on refait la manœuvre avant de la faire dans sa tête, quoi. Enfin moi je fais ça, après ça, chacun fait comme il veut. Hein.
Jean-Martin Bazin est notre invité et il voulait vous dire un mot.
Ouais, salut Jean. 2 petites questions. Ouais. La première, c'est qu'est-ce qui va pas bien dans ta tête pour faire 4 Vendée Globe comme ça?
Qu'est-ce qui va pas bien dans ma tête
pour faire 4 Vendée Globe, pour partir une 4e fois faire le tour du monde tout seul sur un bateau?
Ah, qu'est-ce qui va mal dans ma tête? Ah ben, je sais pas trop. Non. Je sais pas trop, bien ou mal. D'ailleurs, le bien et le mal est toujours une des problématiques et la norme aussi en est une autre. Qu'est-ce que c'est quelqu'un de normal? Qu'est-ce que c'est quelqu'un de voilà? Donc on a toujours cette problématique en termes d'être humain. D'ailleurs, les Français des fois ont ont leur façon de voir les choses que d'autres pays n'ont pas. Donc je fais, bah, il se fait que je suis français, mais alors peut-être que voilà, on est fait différemment. Et heureusement que l'être humain, chacun est différent, parce que sinon on s'emmerderait tout le temps pour tout le monde. Donc alors qu'est-ce qui fait que, bah écoute, il se fait que voilà, je suis chez moi là, je suis bien, mon bateau. Bon, cette nuit, je vous raconte pas ce que j'ai fait. J'ai fait l'inavouable. Mais bon.
On veut des détails, on
J'ai
veut
peut-être
toute
pas le temps de vous
l'explication,
la
Jean.
raconter. Je sais pas si j'ai le temps parce que. Alors, je vais vous faire un scénario. Hein. C'est même pas un scénario, c'est la réalité. Donc, je suis sous Génaqueur, petite Génac à 1 riz. Bon, là, j'ai des claques à 30 nœuds, 32 nœuds, 35 nœuds, le bateau plante, tu marches à 28 nœuds, il y en a marre, quoi. En plus, tu fais pas la route. Donc, tu te dis, bon, allez, je vais prendre un deuxième riz. Donc, tu prends un deuxième riz, tac. Bon, et tu dis, tu as toujours 15 degrés sous la route, ça part comme une fusée encore. Tu dis, il y en a marre, ça fait un moment que ça dure. Tu roules le Génac. Tu roules ton petit Génac, tu mets le RC. Et tu dis, bon, je vais l'eau-fait de 15, ça va être nickel. Tu vois, pour te reposer un peu, ça va être parfait. Là, si tu veux, je fais toute ma manœuvre. Et, et il se fait que je roule le Génac, j'étais sous ORC, donc c'est des toutes petites voiles. Et du coup, pétole, 15 nœuds, quoi. Ah, je dis merde, putain. Et 10 minutes après, paf, 35, 38 nœuds. Oh, je dis super, putain, nickel et tout, je vais pouvoir aller me coucher impeccable. Bon, alors là, une demi-heure se passe et tout, crac, le vent retombe. Oh, je me dis que cela ne tienne, de toute façon, ça l'a fait tout à l'heure, ça va mollir, et après, ça va reforcir. Je vais aller me coucher. Je vais me coucher, j'entends pas mon réveil, je me réveille 5 heures après, à moitié dans la pétole avec 15 nœuds de vent, sous ORC de riz. Alors là, branle-bas de combat, renvoie la grand voile, du coup, j'affale mon petit Chénac, je remets un plus grand, enfin bon, la totale, quoi. Bah, le truc, je te dis pas, quoi, j'ai transpiré ce matin comme 1000, hein. Après, c'est rangement, ouais, empannage dans la foulée, parce que, évidemment, matossage, voilà, et puis nous voilà là, quoi. C'est l'inavouable, quoi. Ça, c'est les trucs. C'est les trucs qu'on doit pas dire, hein, parce que moi je dis toujours, pourquoi est-ce qu'on fait le Vendée Globe, pourquoi en solitaire, l'intérêt du solitaire, c'est quoi? C'est qu'il n'y a personne qui voit les conneries que tu fais. Donc c'est pour ça que c'est l'inavouable. Voilà.
En tout cas, on a compris pourquoi vous y retournez, Jean. On s'ennuie pas sur un bateau. Ça, c'est au moins vous êtes reposé, 5 heures de sommeil, c'est pas mal.
Bah ouais, puis c'est ce que disait, je sais plus qui l'autre jour, il me disait, mais vous en avez pas marre de tourner en rond autour de pour revenir un peu à la question, vous n'en avez pas marre de tourner en rond autour de la planète, machin, etc. Et puis du coup, j'ai dit, mais vous en avez pas marre de vous lever le matin à 8 heures, de bouffer à midi, de bouffer le soir, et puis rencontrer tous les gens, la même chose tous les jours. Eh ben, vous savez pourquoi je fais le Vendée Globe, moi? C'est pour arrêter de tourner en rond, justement. Si ça peut répondre un peu à la question, qu'est-ce qui va mal dans ma tête? Mais ma tête, elle va très bien.
Formidable. Bon. Et avec la marque Ibis comme partenaire sur ton bateau, j'espère au moins qu'ils t'ont donné un minimum de confort supplémentaire pour pouvoir dormir un petit peu mieux que les autres.
Ah bah attends, bouge pas. Bouge pas. Alors là, tu crois pas si bien dire. Attends, bouge pas. Montrer le matos, parce que nous, on est équipés. Moi, je vous ai pas fait voir ma chambre Ibis. Ibis budget chez nous, monsieur. Voilà. Ça c'est mon pouf. Tiens, si vous voulez un gros plan, tiens, regarde. Pas beau ça?
Ah, ça c'est beau. Ça.
Comme un pacha.
Ça c'est mon pouf. Et vous savez comment il s'appelle mon pouf? Il s'appelle Roro. Parce que c'est Roro. Et Roro, l'autre jour, j'ai le temps de vous en raconter une autre ou quoi?
Allez-y, Jean, c'est un bonheur.
Bon, alors, je vous raconte une note inavouable encore. C'est donc j'ai une petite télécommande. J'arriverai pas à la chercher. Ah si, elle est là-bas. Attendez, 2 secondes. Mon fil est long. Ça c'est bien. C'est chiant quand on est prêt, mais c'est bien quand on a quelque chose à aller chercher. Donc que je vous explique quand même la situation. Donc on a ça autour du poignet. Et là-dessus, il y a toute la commande du pilote, quoi. Donc là, il y a auto, stand-by, mode et plus 1, moins 1 pour les degrés. Donc, bon, j'étais sous le Génac, avec de l'air quand même. J'allais prendre mon deuxième riz pour vous dire qu'il y avait de l'air, quoi. Donc, je passe ma bosse d'un mur de deuxième riz. Et là, j'ai dû, par mégarde, évidemment, j'avais mon truc appuyé sur stand-by. Je vous raconte pas, le bateau est parti à la bâtée. Donc, le Génac, le bateau couché à l'horizontale. Et donc, après, j'ai roulé le Génac, etc., etc. Pour en revenir à... Donc, bon, alors après, marche arrière, machin, rouler le Génac, je vous en parle. Alors là, en plus, j'étais au pied de moi quand c'est arrivé, quoi. Et bon... Et du coup, mon bidon de flotte qui est au vent, ben, vous le voyez peut-être derrière sur l'image, il est de quel côté? Ouais, sous le truc jaune, là, il y a un bidon de flotte. Là. Et le bidon de flotte, figurez-vous, avec le vrac complètement, le bateau à 90 ou pas loin, enfin pas 90, sinon les girouettes, elles seraient un peu mal. Mais et tout mon bidon de flotte, il est tombé sur Roro. Et du coup, c'est pour ça que je le mets à sécher parce que il est un peu humide, mon Roro. Donc voilà, ça c'est des conneries. Et du coup, après ça, je l'ai fait une deuxième fois en plus. Une deuxième fois parce qu'on est jamais quand même sûr de quand on fait une connerie, il faut mieux la faire 2 fois, comme ça au moins on est sûr qu'on l'a faite, quoi. Et je l'ai fait une deuxième fois au Love ce coup-là. Et là, j'ai dit, bon, je fais plus de manœuvre avec ce truc-là autour du poignet parce que c'est quand même un danger public, quoi. Donc voilà un peu l'histoire du
beaucoup, Jean.
vrac.
Merci pour toutes ces anecdotes, voilà. Jean. Merci beaucoup. On était vraiment ravis de vous avoir. C'est toujours un bonheur. Et merci à vous d'avoir été avec nous et bonne continuation. À très bientôt, on espère.
Bah oui, c'est la première fois que je vous ai d'ailleurs. Bon bah, salut à tous et puis bonne journée à tous et puis yes we come.